Who will teach this drunkard a lesson? The dog was desperately pulling the cart, and when it walked a bit slower, he beat the dog until it was covered in wounds and then abandoned it by the roadside. When Nello and Grandpa passed by, they found the abandoned dog, which was already on the brink of death. Nello begged Grandpa to take in the dog, saying it could eat his share of the food. Grandpa agreed. Nello was also a child with a hard life. His mother passed away when he was very young, and he was raised by his grandfather, who naturally loved his grandson dearly. Back home, under Nello's careful care every day, the dog quickly recovered. Nello loved drawing since he was a child, and the dog naturally became his model. Grandpa gave the dog a nice name, Patch. One day, Grandpa's old injury suddenly flared up, and he couldn't work anymore. Nello stayed home every day to take care of Grandpa. That nasty landlord suddenly barged into the room, demanding they pay the rent immediately. Understanding the situation, Nello took out the jars from the shelf. Although there were only a few jars and bottles, it was all their savings. Nello promised to gather the remaining rent as soon as possible, and the landlord left, very dissatisfied, muttering under his breath. However, they didn't even have money for Grandpa's medical expenses, and now that Grandpa couldn't work, how could they gather the remaining money? The dog saw all of this. The next morning, the dog woke up the sleeping Nello by barking loudly in the room, then ran out of the room. The grandfather and grandson thought something had happened and hurriedly followed. The dog first jumped onto the milk cart and then kept pulling the cart with its mouth. It turned out it wanted to help deliver milk. Then they set off on the road, and the dog ran very fast, so Nello had to run to barely keep up. The efficiency of delivering milk increased significantly. The boy and the dog quickly became a sight in the small town. People were willing to order their milk. One day, while passing by the church, Nello stood in front of Rubens' statue, lost in thought. He was his idol, a great artist and master painter. Michel noticed him, and the two started talking. Nello said he wanted to become a great man like Rubens. Michel was very surprised to hear this and took Nello to the church to admire Rubens' masterpiece. At this moment, the dog pulled the cart inside, accidentally knocking over the donation box. The priest angrily called them thieves and chased them out. Michel was indignant with the priest and hurriedly chased after him. Meanwhile, Nello and the dog were resting by the roadside when the dog's original drunken owner found him. Shamelessly, he insisted on taking the dog away. Nello was terrified and shouted loudly for the dog to run quickly. The dog ran out swiftly. But dragging the milk cart, how could he outrun a city man? Soon, the cart was grabbed by the drunkard. Nello wanted to step forward to stop him but was pushed away by the drunkard, who threatened to kill him if he dared to interfere again. At this moment, the blacksmith came over. The drunkard picked up a dagger to stab him. Fortunately, Michel arrived in time, knocked the dagger out of the drunkard's hand with a cane, and pushed him to a nearby stall. Unexpectedly, the deranged drunkard suddenly picked up a large machete and kept swinging it at Michel from side to side. Michel couldn't dodge in time and fell to the ground. The drunkard picked up the machete to chop down. After beating the dog to a pulp, the drunkard abandoned it by the roadside. Seeing the dog being well fed by Nello, the shameless drunkard insisted on taking the dog back and even threatened to kill anyone who stopped him. In a life and death moment, the dog leapt up and pounced, causing the drunkard to fall to the ground and die on the spot. Michel didn't mind Nello's poor background and took Nello and the dog home, constantly praising the dog for being so brave. When he saw Nello's paintings, he marveled at Nello's incredible painting skills and even shared some painting techniques with him for free. Nello wanted to help Michel with work in exchange for painting lessons, but Michel was leaving for Rome and told Nello to practice more in his own way. In the blink of an eye, several years passed. Nello's painting skills matured. Michel told him that every Christmas, the church holds a Rubens painting competition, and he should prepare well for it. If you win the competition, you can not only get a prize of 10 francs but also a scholarship to the art academy. Lisa, who grew up with Nello, firmly believed he would achieve great things in the future, but Lisa's father was adamantly against them being together. Her father thought Nello was too poor and that making money through painting was a pipe dream. He believed his daughter had no future with him and hoped Nello would stay away from her and never contact her again. Nello left disappointed. Even on Lisa's birthday, Nello didn't show up. It wasn't until midnight that Nello dared to pass her birthday gift through the window. Nello told her that once he won the competition, everything would be different. However, an accident happened that night. Just after the two parted ways, Lisa's family's warehouse suddenly caught fire. Everyone rushed over to help. Even Nello's grandfather dragged his frail body to assist. After a night of struggle, the fire was finally extinguished, but the despicable landlord insisted that it was Nello who did it, claiming he was seeking revenge on Lisa's father. The doll in Lisa's hand was proof that he had been there the night before. Lisa's father was furious, and in his anger, he smashed the doll. No matter what Nello said, Lisa's father no longer trusted him. The despicable landlord, determined to drive Nello away, even hired someone to steal his milk business. Not only did no one want to order his milk anymore, but his grandfather was so upset that he became bedridden and soon passed away. In front of his grandfather's grave, Nello vowed to win the competition and not let his grandfather in heaven down. For a period of time afterward, Nello devoted himself entirely to practicing painting. Soon, the competition time arrived. Nello submitted his most satisfying work. That despicable landlord came again, demanding Nello pay the rent immediately. After taking care of his grandfather, Nello had no money left. The despicable landlord didn't care about that and gave him two choices. Either use his dog to pay the debt or move out immediately. Of course, Nello couldn't bear to part with his dog, so they moved out together. On the snowy streets, the poor boy and his dog sat on the steps, having not eaten for a long time. Seeing a piece of bread hanging on the ground, before the boy could pick it up, a woman stepped on it. The boy didn't mind, and seeing no one around, he quickly picked it up, giving half to the dog and eating the other half himself. The competition results were about to be announced, and Nello squeezed into the church. He thought he had victory in hand but was unaware of society's darkness. In the end, the winner was an ugly painting, a portrait of the teacher, painted by the teacher's son. After hearing this, Nello sat on the ground in despair, his only hope shattered. He felt like everything was over. At night, they wandered in the blizzard because they were homeless. Suddenly, the dog seemed to have found something. Nello picked it up, and it turned out to be a wallet full of money, with Lisa's father's name on it. Nello didn't hesitate for a moment and took the wallet to Lisa's doorstep. Seeing him covered in blood, Lisa's mother quickly invited him inside. Nello took out the wallet with scissors. It turned out this was the money they needed to rebuild the warehouse. Lisa's mother was very happy and invited Nello to have dinner with them. But Nello only hoped to give the dog a bowl of hot milk. It was all thanks to the dog, and he hoped to find a safe place for the old dog. Then, Nello quietly left and returned to the blizzard. Nello's father, who hadn't found the wallet, returned disappointed. He kept complaining that without finding the wallet, a lifetime of savings was gone. At this moment, he saw the dog at home and was instantly furious. What is that damn dog doing here? Get it out of here immediately. Lisa's mother threw the wallet at Lisa's father. You should be grateful. If you were an honest child, this wallet was found by that damn dog you mentioned. Lisa's father immediately felt very guilty. At this moment, the maid, who had a change of heart, finally revealed the truth. It turned out that the fire was accidentally caused by him and the despicable landlord. Lisa's father felt he had wronged Nello and wanted to find him to apologize. At his call, the whole village came out to help search. In the end, it was the dog who followed the scent and found Nello first. He took the dog to the church, pulled back the curtain, wanting to see Rubens' masterpiece, but the light was too dim to see clearly, so he decided to wait until morning. Nello, tired and hungry, fell asleep on the cold floor. In a daze, golden sunlight streamed through the window into the church, revealing a magnificent masterpiece before his eyes. Unexpectedly, even the deceased Rubens appeared and gave Nello great affirmation. Nello wanted to leave with Rubens. At this moment, sunlight shone through the doorway, and Nello saw his deceased mother. He hurriedly ran over with the dog. Afterwards, Nello not only saw his deceased grandfather but also his own funeral. However, it was all just a dream. After dawn, people found Nello. Lisa's father tightly embraced Nello, hoping to receive Nello's forgiveness. Michel also approached Nello and took out the medal from his youth. After learning the name of Nello's mother, Michel suddenly realized that he was Nello's father. The mother was unwilling to reveal Nello's father's name because she feared it would bring shame to Master Michel and ruin his promising future. Upon hearing this, Michel was moved to tears. The two embraced tightly, overwhelmed with emotion. The movie, A Dog's Gratitude, ends here. This is a 19-year-old classic film. In the world of dogs, there is no concept of favoring the rich over the poor. To repay Nello for saving its life, the dog remained loyal and never left his side. Alright, that's it. If you want to see more great movie reviews, please follow me.
Yeah!